Malcolm and Marcus plus you reborn. Call me Chad X, new Black Panther. With a raised fist, I resist racist oppression, injustice. Mark my words, I won't quit. Never give up till we get justice.
What's up, everybody? This your boy CS of Motivated Minds. As y'all can see, I'm back in the studio. It's been a minute. It's kind of hard to get in here because life be life, and I be working, and I got some other stuff going on. But I'm back in the studio. A couple weeks ago, I had a friend of mine ask me if I was going to do a video about mental health because May was Mental Health Awareness Month. And what I said was I've actually done about 8 videos on mental health in the Black community. And I was like, so I just, I didn't feel the need to do one. In reality, actually I did not too long ago. So in this environment that we're currently living in, hey man, we gotta watch our mental. Sometimes we gotta turn the news off and just focus on the things that are around us, because the media, social media, the news, all that stuff, if you listen to that stuff, it'll drive you crazy. It really will, man. They have you walking around anxiety and a nervous wreck. And of course, nobody paid attention to it because it takes somebody famous to say it. Over the past couple of weeks, so, in days, I just been hearing and seeing people talk about some things that affect them. So I woke up this morning, I said, let me dig up this video that I was working on last year that I never finished and I never got to. And I just said, I'm going to post this because you never know what people are going through. So y'all check this out real quick and then I'll be right back.
Doing?
I'm blessed up, bro.
Yeah?
Blessed up, yeah.
Yeah. How's your mental?
Good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm glad you said that. Niggas don't be asking people about that, man.
Bro,
how
shit,
yours is? You good?
Up and down.
Yeah.
Just, we human.
You go to therapy?
Huh?
You go to therapy?
Nah, I really just talk to myself, bro.
I go to therapy.
You go to therapy?
I do therapy probably like twice a week.
The thing that jumped out at me about that is Sean Cotton asked him, how you doing? And Yellow Beezy said, man, I appreciate that. And that's one thing I'll tell y'all from me personally that I always do, and I've always done this all the time, all the years I was in the Army, and I still do it today, is that I ask people, how you doing? And y'all just don't know the number of conversations that I've had from those 3 words. Because sometimes people say fine, sometimes people say, man, well, you just don't know. And sometimes it leads to a conversation. And I've had people say, bro, I appreciate you asking me that. Something that I used to do, but I don't do it too much anymore, is if I hadn't either heard from somebody in a while, or if I'm on a book and I hadn't seen them post it, what I used to do is I would shoot them a message, sometimes a text message or an inbox message, and I would just be like, hey, I'm just checking on you, man. You straight? But, some people took it the wrong way. So I don't, too much do that no more. Or the other thing I would do is if somebody crossed my mind, and I might ignore it at first, but if they cross my mind again, I hit them up and be like, hey, you crossed my mind. You good? And normally they would start talking like, man, how you knew? I was just going through blah, 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 blah. And I know just for me personally, some years ago when I used to be wilding out on the book, I know that I had stopped posting for a very long time. And I remember I saw a conversation between my dog Howard and Shy. Hey, shout out to Shy and Chris. Hey, what up, Howard? I still talk to Howard, me and him chop it up. But one of them asked, like, hey, he hadn't been posting. Anybody check on him to see if he was okay? And Howard actually hit me up. And I'm going to tell y'all, man, I was over here struggling. But they were attentive enough to know and observe that I hadn't been posting. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to just tell y'all, man, I appreciated that. So I used to do that all the time. And it just depends on who the person is. I'll hit people up and just say, man, I ain't heard from you in a while. I'm just checking on you. Then Yellow Beezy asked Sean Cotton about therapy, if he went to therapy. And of course, Sean Cotton, he said no. And Yellow Beezy basically said, I go. And it's actually a pretty good interview. We have to get rid of the stigmatism in our community that therapy is a bad thing, because it's actually not. And if you pay attention to some of the celebrities, Charlamagne the God talk about therapy all the time. I just saw an interview on the Breakfast Club where they had Taraji P. Henson, and she was kind of talking about the music. She was talking about the movie Straw, which is a pretty good movie. And she was talking about some of her struggles and the things that, she was going through, and she had to unplug and get away from things, man. So I'm just saying, the celebrity, everybody struggle at times. And, there's nothing wrong with going to talk to somebody. And even if you don't seek professional help, is sometimes you need to have that friend or that confidant or those friends that you can talk to, and you don't have to worry about whatever you share with them going anywhere. And I ain't talking about them old nosy friends that y'all got keep keep your business in the streets. But I know for me, I can always pick up the phone. Of course, I can talk to my dad, of course, always. And I've got certain family members that I can talk to, but my friends, my dog, my boy Nola Joe, my dog Rod, boy T, out in El Paso, I can always pick up the phone and I can call them and not worry about it going anywhere. That's me as a black man talking to other black men. And that's what we do, believe it or not, because sometimes we share these things in common as black men. Some people can talk to, their spouse or significant other, whoever they got, but this is a whole nother topic. But sometimes as a black man, you can't necessarily talk to a woman without it being thrown in your face. But that is a whole nother topic that I will talk about on another day. But everybody needs that person or people that they can talk to and don't have to worry about it going anywhere. And I'm gonna say some people go to they pastors and all that stuff, and I don't mean nothing when I say this, but sometimes that's the worst thing that you can do, in my opinion, because sometimes church folk gonna load you up with scripture, and that ain't what you need. So I'm just saying, but I'm gonna get off of that. But yeah, I said all that to say this: we got to guard our mental, and we got to look out for each other. It's hard out there sometimes, and some people out there are struggling, and nobody's paying attention to it. We got to look out for each other, man. Guard your mental. Hey, this your boy, CS Motivated Minds. I just want y'all to think about it.
Malcolm and Marcus plus you were reborn. Call me Chad X, new Black Panther. With a raised fist, I resist racist oppression, injustice. Mark my words, I won't quit. Never give up till we get justice.